Ethan wiped the sweat from his forehead as sparks flew from the repair bench. The hum of machinery filled the small hangar, mixing with the soft hiss of steam and the occasional clang of metal tools. He had worked here for years, fixing ships for traders, travelers, and the occasional scavenger. Most of the time the work was simple, repetitive, but it paid the bills and he liked it that way. He preferred simplicity over the chaos of the galaxy's larger cities. This remote planet, Zarif, was not much to look at. Its dusty plains stretched far, dotted with broken structures and abandoned technology from past wars. Few ships passed through, and those that did were usually in a hurry. Ethan liked the quiet, the solitude. But today, the quiet was about to break. A sudden tremor shook the ground. Ethan froze, listening. Another tremor followed, stronger this time. Then he saw it. A streak of blue fire in the sky, growing larger as it approached. A ship was crashing, spinning out of control, smoke trailing behind it. Ethan didn't think twice. He grabbed his tools and ran toward the landing site, dodging debris and stones. As he approached, he saw her. The alien woman was slumped against the side of the ship. Her silver armor was scratched and dented. Her long hair, dark with streaks of violet, clung to her face, damp with sweat. Her eyes, golden and bright even in pain, looked at him with a mixture of fear and hope. "Are you alive?" Ethan called, approaching cautiously. The woman tried to smile but winced in pain. "I need help," she said, her voice calm yet weak. There was no panic, only a quiet strength that made Ethan pause. She seemed different from anyone he had met. Ethan nodded. "I can fix your ship, but you need to get inside. It's not safe out here." He lifted her carefully, surprising himself with how light she felt, and guided her into the hangar. Once inside, he set her down on a bench and started inspecting her ship. It was unlike anything he had seen. The hull was sleek and dark, almost alive in its design, with strange symbols glowing faintly along its edges. Ethan's curiosity mixed with urgency. He had to fix it, but he had no idea how advanced it was. "Do you have anyone coming for you?" he asked, wiping his hands on a rag. The woman shook her head slightly. "No, just me." Her voice was quiet, but there was an unspoken weight behind it, as if she carried a responsibility far greater than her small frame suggested. Ethan took a deep breath. He had repaired many ships, but this one was different. Its systems were strange, almost alien even to the galaxy's standards, but he didn't hesitate. He pulled out his toolkit and began working, letting his hands move on instinct. Hours passed. Sparks flew, wires hummed, and strange lights blinked as Ethan worked tirelessly. Every time he fixed one system, another challenge appeared. The ship seemed to resist him at first, but slowly, it began to respond. Through it all, the woman watched him. Her golden eyes followed every movement. Her face relaxed in a way that showed trust. For the first time in a long while, Ethan felt appreciated. He was just a mechanic, just a man from a quiet world, but somehow, his hands were saving someone who seemed extraordinary. Finally, with a loud hiss and a soft glow from the control panels, the ship powered up. Ethan stepped back, exhausted but satisfied. "You did it?" the woman said, her voice full of amazement. "I did not think it possible." Ethan smiled, shrugging. "I'm good at what I do. Just needed a bit of patience." She stood, her strength returning as she adjusted her armor. "Patience and courage," she said softly, almost to herself. Then she looked at him directly. "I owe you my life." Ethan laughed lightly. "Don't mention it. Anyone would have done the same." Her eyes narrowed slightly, as if she was measuring him, trying to understand him. "You are different from most humans I have encountered," she said carefully. "Not afraid, not greedy, not desperate." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Well, I try not to be. Life's complicated enough without adding more trouble." For a moment, silence fell between them. Then the woman's communicator beeped. She frowned, checking it quickly. "They are coming," she said. Her voice turned serious. I need to leave soon before they find me. Ethan's heart sank. Find you? Who? She shook her head. It is better you do not know. But even as she said it, her eyes reflected a deep worry. Ethan hesitated. He didn't know who she was or why someone would chase her. All he knew was that he wanted to help. Then I'll help you leave safely, he said firmly. She studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. But you must understand. Once we leave, there is no turning back for you. Ethan smirked, trying to hide his nervousness. I don't usually turn back anyway. By nightfall, the repairs were complete. The ship's engines hummed steadily, and the weapons and shields were fully functional again. Ethan stepped back, proud of his work. The woman's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light of the hangar. I do not even know your name, she said. Ethan, he replied. Yours? Solara, she said simply. The name carried a weight, a presence he couldn't quite explain. He had heard names like hers in legends whispered by traders and travelers as powerful rulers of distant systems, but he didn't let himself think too much. You should rest, Ethan said. Your ship is ready, but you look like you haven't slept in days. Solara shook her head. I cannot. They will not wait. Ethan frowned. Then at least take something with you. Supplies, tools, anything you might need. Solara glanced at him, a small smile appearing. You are remarkably thoughtful for a human. Ethan shrugged. We try. Well, most of us. She laughed softly, a sound that echoed strangely in the hangar. It was brief, but it carried warmth, a touch of humanity even in her alien presence. Ethan felt a strange sense of connection, as if fate had brought them together for a reason he didn't yet understand. Then the quiet was shattered. A low rumble echoed through the sky, followed by flashes of light outside. Ethan ran to the doorway and peered into the darkness. Shadows of ships appeared on the horizon, sleek and armed, moving fast toward the planet. They are here, Solara said, her voice calm but firm. I cannot leave them to find me unprepared. Ethan's heart pounded. He knew he should step back, let her handle it. But he couldn't. He had helped her, saved her life. He could not abandon her now. Then we fight together, he said. Solara turned to him, surprise flickering in her eyes. You would fight for me, knowing nothing of who I am? Ethan nodded. I fight for what's right. That's enough for me. For the first time, Solara truly looked at him, seeing not just a human but a man of courage and principle. She realized then that this simple mechanic, this man from a quiet world, possessed a strength she had underestimated. The ships drew closer, and Solara moved with swift precision, preparing for what was coming. But even as she readied her weapons, she allowed Ethan to stay by her side. She did not fully explain why. Perhaps she could sense that he was destined to matter more than any ruler could imagine. And so, as the first flashes of enemy fire streaked across the sky, a human mechanic and a mysterious alien woman stood together, ready to face the danger. Neither knew what the future held, but both felt the unspoken bond that had formed between them. A bond forged in trust, courage, and the quiet heroism of one human who had simply done the right thing. And in that moment, the galaxy had no idea that this small, seemingly ordinary act of kindness and skill would ripple across the stars, setting in motion events that would challenge empires, reshape alliances, and reveal the extraordinary power of a human heart. The sky above Zarif was dark with smoke, streaked by the fading trails of the enemy ships. Ethan and Solara stood at the edge of the hangar, catching their breath. Though the immediate threat had passed, neither of them felt safe. Solara's eyes scanned the horizon, alert, while Ethan wiped soot from his hands and looked at her with curiosity. You handled that very well, Ethan said. I didn't think they'd actually back off so quickly. Solara shook her head. They are cautious, but they will return. They always do. Her voice was calm, yet there was an underlying tension that made Ethan uneasy. He had seen conflict before, but something about the way she spoke told him this was far more dangerous than anything he had faced. Ethan helped her back into the hangar. "You should rest," he said. "Even the strongest need a moment to breathe." Solara hesitated. "I cannot. Not yet. There are matters to attend to, and I must be ready." Ethan frowned. "What kind of matters? Who exactly are you?" Solara looked at him, a faint smile playing on her lips. "That is not important, right? Now, you only need to know that there are those who would do me harm and your help is needed." Ethan nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand, but he trusted her. Somehow he felt that helping her was the right thing to do, no matter what he didn't know. Over the next few hours, Ethan worked on reinforcing her ship. He checked the engines, improved the shielding, and repaired minor damages from the skirmish. Solara observed him quietly, occasionally offering suggestions in her calm, precise manner. She did not interfere much, but her knowledge of advanced technology was clear. "You have an interesting way of thinking," she remarked as Ethan rewired a control module in a way she hadn't anticipated. "Most beings rely on brute force or complex algorithms. You use intuition." Ethan grinned. "Sometimes the simplest solution works best. I guess it's a human thing." Solara's golden eyes studied him for a long moment. "There is courage in simplicity," she said softly. "You are not afraid to act even without complete knowledge." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest at her words. Well, someone has to act when the situation demands it. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden commotion outside. Ethan rushed to the doorway and saw a small group of local warlords approaching the hangar. They were armed, their eyes greedy as they surveyed Solara. "Looks like you've got company," Ethan muttered. Solara's expression hardened. "They seek to exploit weakness. They do not understand whom they face." Ethan stepped forward. "Well, I do. And I'm not letting them take you." The warlords charged, thinking it would be easy to overpower the two of them. But Ethan had anticipated this. Using the hangar's equipment and his quick thinking, he set traps and created barriers. Sparks flew and lights flashed as he redirected energy from power conduits to temporarily disable the intruders' weapons. Solara watched, impressed. Her eyes narrowed with calculation. Then she acted. With swift precision, she moved among the attackers, using minimal force to disarm and disable them. She did not strike with anger, only with purpose, as if each move was measured to maintain control without unnecessary harm. By the time the skirmish ended, the warlords were fleeing. Humiliated and defeated, Ethan wiped his brow and looked at Solara. "Not bad for someone I didn't even know." Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. "You are more capable than most I have encountered. Perhaps humanity has qualities I have underestimated." Ethan laughed lightly. "We've got courage, ingenuity, and stubbornness. That's our secret." Solara tilted her head, studying him. "Courage and ingenuity. Those are indeed rare qualities in any species. You have proven yourself valuable." For the first time, Ethan felt that his simple life on a remote planet mattered in a way he had never imagined. Helping her was no longer just an act of kindness. It had become a responsibility, one that he felt honored to carry. As night fell, Solara and Ethan prepared for the next stage of their journey. She needed to leave Zareth, and Ethan insisted on accompanying her. Despite the danger, he was determined to help her navigate whatever lay ahead. During the long flight through the quiet void of space, they talked. Ethan shared stories of Earth and human life, of struggles, triumphs, and small victories that defined ordinary beings. Solara listened intently, her golden eyes reflecting both curiosity and admiration. "You speak of your people with such pride," she said. "Yet you describe simple lives, simple challenges." Ethan shrugged. "Simple doesn't mean weak. Humans survive, adapt, and grow stronger even when the odds are against them. That's our way." Solara considered his words. "I see. Your strength lies not in technology or armies, but in spirit. That is unusual." Ethan smiled. "Well, it works for us. You don't need the galaxy's largest fleet to make a difference. Sometimes all you need is courage and quick thinking." Solara nodded slowly. She had faced countless rulers, generals, and warriors across her empire, yet something about Ethan's humility and bravery struck a chord. Here was a being who acted not for power, not for fame, but simply because it was the right thing to. The quiet moments of travel were broken by sudden alerts on Solara's ship. Scouts from hostile factions had detected them. Ethan moved quickly, assisting her in rerouting power and recalibrating defense systems. His knowledge of mechanics and ingenuity proved invaluable, even in advanced alien technology. "You are remarkable," Solara said as she watched him work. "Your mind adapts quickly. You do not panic, even under pressure." Ethan chuckled. "Years of fixing broken things tend to teach you that panic doesn't help." Solara's eyes softened, a rare expression of warmth crossing her face. "You are brave, Ethan. Braver than many leaders I have known. I admire that." Ethan felt a strange mixture of pride and humility. He had never sought admiration from anyone, let alone someone so extraordinary. Yet her words inspired him, reinforcing his belief that helping others was always worth the effort. Their journey continued, facing minor skirmishes and challenges along the way. Each time, Ethan's quick thinking and Solara's strength complemented each other. She taught him to observe, plan, and act with precision, while he reminded her that instinct and improvisation could save lives when plans failed. Through these shared experiences, a bond formed between them. It was a bond built not on titles, power, or wealth, but on mutual respect, trust, and the understanding that they could rely on each other in a galaxy full of danger. One evening, as they floated among the stars, Solara turned to Ethan. "You do not know who I truly am, do you?" Ethan shook his head. "Not really, but I do know this. You are strong, wise, and someone who needs help. That's enough for me." Solara's golden eyes glimmered. She wanted to reveal her full identity, to show him that he had helped the most powerful queen in the galaxy. Yet she hesitated. This human's courage was pure, untainted by power or fear. She didn't want that to change. "You are remarkable, Ethan," she said softly. "I have seen many beings, but none like you. Perhaps humanity has potential beyond what I imagined." Ethan smiled. "We've got heart. That's all we need sometimes." As they approached the next system, danger loomed closer than ever. Solara's enemies were not far behind, and Ethan could sense the growing tension. Yet he did not falter. He had chosen to help her, and he would see it through no matter the cost. And Solara, for all her power and knowledge, began to realize that this simple human mechanic, this man of courage and integrity, might be the one who could stand by her side when the galaxy seemed impossible to navigate. In that moment, a partnership was forged, one that would challenge empires, confront danger, and reveal the extraordinary value of human bravery, ingenuity, and heart. The stars stretched out before them, vast and full of unknown threats. But together, they were ready, and neither knew how far this journey would take them, or how profoundly their lives would change, one small act of courage at a time. Ethan sat in the pilot's chair, fingers resting lightly on the controls. The hum of Solara's ship was steady, almost comforting after the long days of travel and small skirmishes. Outside, stars streaked past as they moved through hyperspace, toward the next system. Solara hovered near a console, her golden eyes scanning readings and alerts. She seemed calm, but Ethan knew that beneath that calm was a mind constantly calculating, planning, and predicting. He admired her focus, but also felt a growing tension. Something was coming, and it was larger than anything they had faced before. "Ethan," Solara said, her voice quiet but firm, "I must warn you. The forces pursuing me are stronger than what we have encountered. They are organized, ruthless, and well-equipped." Ethan nodded. "I'm ready. We've managed so far. I can handle what comes next." Solara's gaze softened for a moment. "You are brave, but even the bravest can be overwhelmed. Stay close and trust your instincts as much as your skills." The next day, as they approached a neutral star system for supplies, their sensors picked up several fast-moving ships. Unlike the small raiders and warlords they had encountered before, these ships were military class, sleek, heavily armed, and coordinated. Ethan's eyes widened. "They're serious," he muttered, gripping the controls. Solara's expression was calm but determined. "Indeed, they have come to capture me, or worse. We must be careful." Without warning, the enemy ships launched an attack. Blasts of energy lit up the void, striking the shields of Solara's ship. Ethan jumped into action, rerouting power to reinforce shields while adjusting the engines to dodge incoming fire. "Evasive maneuvers," Solara commanded. Her voice was calm, precise, like a conductor leading a complex symphony. The ship twisted and darted, avoiding several volleys of enemy fire. Ethan's hands moved quickly, adjusting power flow and rerouting auxiliary systems. "They're fast, but we can outsmart them," he shouted over the alarms. Solara glanced at him, a small smile of approval appearing. "Indeed, your creativity is unexpected but effective." The enemy ships continued their attack, firing in patterns that suggested experience and discipline. Ethan studied their movements carefully. "They're trying to trap us in a pincer formation," he realized aloud. "If we continue straight, we'll be surrounded." Solara nodded. "Then we must adapt. Follow your instincts, Ethan." Together, they executed a series of complex maneuvers. Ethan's quick thinking allowed them to anticipate the enemy's patterns, while Solara's precision piloting turned the ship with elegance and power. The combined effort of human ingenuity and royal skill kept them alive. "Hold steady," Ethan shouted. "I've got an idea." Using a combination of energy diversions and calculated deceleration, Ethan tricked the enemy into overshooting their trajectory. Their ships collided briefly with each other, causing confusion and temporary chaos among their formation. Solara seized the opportunity, firing a controlled energy pulse that disabled several enemy vessels. The battle ended with the enemy retreating, but the damage was clear. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead, breathing heavily. "That was too close." Solara turned to him, her golden eyes serious. "You did well. Very few beings could have handled that situation with such precision and courage." Ethan shrugged, trying to appear nonchalant. "I just reacted. You did most of the work." Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. "Perhaps, but your presence made the difference. You are exceptional, Ethan. Few humans, or beings of any kind, would stand firm under such pressure." The praise warmed Ethan's heart, though he tried not to show it. "Well, someone has to do it," he said quietly. "I couldn't just watch while they tried to take you." Solara studied him closely, as if seeing him truly for the first time. "You act without concern for titles, power, or fear. That is rare. It is admirable." Their ship drifted in a quieter sector for the night, giving them a chance to rest and repair minor damages. Ethan worked on the engines while Solara monitored communications and scanned for additional threats. "Tell me, Ethan," Solara said, breaking the silence. "Do humans often face such danger?" Ethan paused, thinking. "We do, in smaller ways. On our world, we face challenges every day, storms, accidents, conflicts. But nothing like this, not in the stars. Still, we survive. We adapt. That's what humans do." Solara nodded, listening carefully. "Adaptation, courage, ingenuity. These are qualities that make your species remarkable. Perhaps more than I expected." Ethan looked up, smiling. "I guess humans surprise a lot of people." The next morning, as they prepared to leave the sector, Solara received a message. Her eyes narrowed as she read it. "They have sent a warning to me. The Council knows I survived Zarif. They will pursue me with greater force." Ethan frowned. "Council? Who is this? And why do they want you?" Solara hesitated. "The full truth is dangerous. I am not just a traveler, Ethan. I hold a position of great power. I rule many systems, many worlds. And there are those who challenge me. Ethan blinked, taken aback. You rule a galaxy? And you didn't tell me? Solara's golden eyes met his. I did not tell you because your actions were not influenced by my power. I wanted to see your true character, your courage, and your heart. You acted with integrity, not fear. That is why you are here. Ethan felt a mixture of awe and humility. I don't know what to say. I'm just me, a mechanic. Solara stepped closer, her presence commanding yet gentle. You are extraordinary, Ethan. Extraordinary in ways that no title, no crown, no army can measure. That is why I trust you. Before Ethan could respond, alarms blared again. The enemy had located them, sending an entire fleet this time. The ships were massive, black and gleaming with weaponry that dwarfed Solara's own vessel. Ethan's heart raced. We need a plan, fast. Solara moved with grace, her hands flying over the controls. We will not fight blindly. Follow my lead, Ethan. Your ingenuity will guide us through. For hours they dodged attacks, using a combination of human creativity and Solara's precision piloting. Ethan rigged temporary diversions, rerouted energy flows, and even manipulated gravity fields to throw off the enemy's targeting systems. Solara's golden eyes watched him closely, impressed by his adaptability. You think quickly, she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. Most beings would panic or falter. You excel under pressure. Ethan chuckled nervously. I guess all those years fixing broken things paid off. Finally, they managed to slip into an uncharted nebula, hiding their ship from sensors. Ethan slumped in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. That was gay intense. I didn't think we'd make it. Solara turned to him, her expression softening. You kept us alive. You proved that humans, your species, are more than what I imagined. Courage, ingenuity, loyalty, these qualities are rare in any being. You possess them all. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Thanks, Solara. That means a lot. Solara's eyes met his, golden and steady. The galaxy underestimates humans. They are clever, brave, and resilient. You embody those strengths. Ethan smiled. Well, we do our best. Guess I'm just lucky to have been in the right place at the right time. Solara shook her head gently. No. Luck has little to do with it. You chose to act. That is what matters. Courage is a choice, and you chose it. Again and again. That is what makes a hero. Ethan felt a quiet pride. He had never thought of himself as a hero. But Solara's words made him realize that bravery wasn't about titles or recognition. It was about doing the right thing even when the odds were against you. As they rested within the nebula, Solara's gaze drifted toward the stars beyond the gas clouds. Ethan, the challenges ahead will not lessen, but together we can face them. You have shown me that even a single human can influence events across the galaxy. I am grateful for your presence. Ethan looked at her, understanding the weight of her words. I'll stay. We'll face it together. And so amidst the swirling colors of the nebula, a human mechanic and the most powerful queen in the galaxy forged a bond that would be tested by enemies, strategy, and the vast unknown. They did not yet know how far the coming threats would reach, but one thing was certain. Humanity, in its courage and ingenuity, had already left a mark on the stars. For Ethan and Solara, the journey was only beginning, and the galaxy was about to discover that even the most ordinary beings could rise to extraordinary challenges. Solara's ship descended through the atmosphere of her homeworld, a massive planet brimming with advanced technology, sprawling cities, and countless fleets of ships in orbit. Ethan stared in awe, barely believing what he was seeing. From his quiet life on Zareph, he had never imagined such a place existed. Towering spires gleamed in the sunlight, and massive airships moved like rivers through the sky. The planet pulsed with life, order, and power, an empire in motion. This is your world? Ethan asked, still trying to comprehend the scale. Solara nodded, her expression calm. Yes, This is the heart of my rule, Ethan. Every decision I make here affects billions across the galaxy. Ethan swallowed hard. He had expected to meet a person, not a queen of countless systems. Yet despite the enormity of her power, Solara had treated him as an equal. That respect, that trust, humbled him. "Will they know I helped you?" he asked quietly. Solara's eyes softened. "You do not need a title to be recognized. Your deeds are your legacy. The galaxy will see your value just as I do." They landed in the capital city. Guards, drones, and advisors moved efficiently, ensuring the Queen's safety and the smooth functioning of her empire. Ethan felt like an intruder at first, overwhelmed by the scale of control and authority around him. But Solara walked with confidence, her presence commanding attention without effort. "Ethan, we must prepare for the council meeting," Solara said as they moved through the corridors. "They have questioned my rule before, and they will challenge me again. Your perspective may help me, though I suspect few expect a human to offer guidance." Ethan blinked. "A human? Me? In a galactic council?" Solara smiled faintly. "Yes. Your courage, integrity, and insight are rare, Ethan. The council may not listen at first, but sometimes truth and ingenuity carry more weight than rank." Inside the Grand Council chamber, representatives from dozens of systems waited. Their eyes followed Solara's every move, some with suspicion, others with respect. Ethan felt their scrutiny, a wave of tension pressing against him. Yet he remained calm, remembering the principle that had guided him since he first helped. "Solara, act with integrity and courage no matter the odds." The council leader spoke first, his tone sharp. "Queen Solara, you return after evading our forces. Many question your ability to govern. How can you assure this council that your rule is legitimate?" Solara's voice was steady, unwavering. "I govern with fairness, wisdom, and justice. My actions have protected countless worlds and maintained peace across the galaxy. I did not evade, I endured. And I have allies who have proven their loyalty not to titles, but to what is right." All eyes turned toward Ethan. He straightened, his heart pounding, but he held their gaze. "I do not claim titles or power," he said clearly. "I am just a human mechanic, but I have seen what true courage and integrity can do. Queen Solara is not only powerful in authority, but in character. She acts to protect, to guide, and to uphold justice. That is the mark of a true leader." Murmurs swept through the council chamber. Many were shocked that a human, someone outside the galactic elite, spoke with such clarity and confidence. Others whispered doubt, unable to reconcile his simplicity with his authority in this moment. Ethan continued, his voice calm but firm. "The galaxy is full of strategy, alliances, and technology. But without courage, loyalty, and wisdom, even the greatest power fails. I have seen her act without fear, without greed, without hesitation, and I trust her judgment. That is all I can say." Solara's eyes met his, glowing with gratitude. She had trusted him from the beginning, and now he was proving that humanity's qualities were not just survival traits. They were forces capable of influencing empires. The council debated. Some remained skeptical. But Solara's record and Ethan's testimony were undeniable. Their combination of logic, courage, and integrity began to sway opinions. In a dramatic display, the council finally acknowledged her authority, formally, recognizing her right to rule and praising her achievements. Ethan felt a rush of relief. It was not just a victory for Solara, it was a testament to the value of ordinary beings acting with extraordinary courage. After the council meeting, Solara led Ethan to a private chamber overlooking the planet's cities. "You have proven more than skill and bravery," she said softly. "You have shown wisdom beyond what I expected. Humans may indeed have potential far greater than I imagined." Ethan chuckled nervously. "I just try to do the right thing. I never thought it would matter this much." Solara's gaze was steady. "It matters. The galaxy watches. And you, Ethan, have reminded me that true power is not only in fleets or armies, but in trust, courage, and the choices of those who act without selfishness." Their quiet moment was interrupted by a sudden alert. Intelligence reports indicated a faction plotting to destabilize Solara's empire. These enemies were ruthless, targeting key systems to challenge her authority. Solara's expression hardened. They test us. It is time we act decisively. Ethan nodded. We'll figure this out. Together. They moved quickly, coordinating with loyal commanders and using the ship's advanced systems. Ethan contributed inventive solutions, rerouting, communications to expose spies and deploying clever decoys to mislead enemy forces. His hands worked as quickly as his mind, and Solara watched in admiration, realizing that his ingenuity was as valuable as her own vast power. "This human of yours," one of her commanders whispered during a strategy meeting. "He is remarkable." "I have never seen such quick thinking," Solara nodded. "Indeed, courage, ingenuity, and loyalty, qualities that often outweigh numbers or technology. Humans may surprise the galaxy." The battle strategy unfolded. Solara's fleet, guided by her leadership and Ethan's insights, moved with precision and timing. Enemy factions were caught off guard, misdirected, and ultimately defeated without excessive loss. The display of coordination and intelligence showcased Solara's true power and the value of her human ally. When the dust settled, Ethan and Solara stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The night lights reflected in her golden eyes, and she spoke with quiet pride. "You see, Ethan, true power is not only in what you command, but in whom you trust and how wisely you act. You have reminded me that strength is measured not just by armies, but by character." Ethan looked out over the vast cities, still in awe. "I never imagined any of this. I just did what I thought was right." Solara placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "That is why it mattered. You did not act for reward, for recognition, or for power. You acted with heart. That is what makes you extraordinary." For the first time, Ethan realized the depth of his journey. From a simple mechanic on a quiet planet, he had become a trusted ally of the most powerful queen in the galaxy. He had faced danger, uncertainty, and the unknown, and yet he had remained true to himself. Solara continued, her voice reflective. "The galaxy underestimates humans. They are clever, brave, and resilient. You have shown me what is possible when courage meets wisdom." Ethan felt a quiet pride. "I guess humans have more to offer than people think." Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. "Indeed, and I will ensure that your deeds are recognized, though not for fame, but for the value they represent. Courage, integrity, and ingenuity, these are gifts, not titles." Together they watched as the city thrived below, safe for now. Yet both knew that challenges would come again, as they always did in a galaxy of ambition, conflict, and hidden threats. But for Ethan and Solara, the bond they had formed, the trust, respect, and shared courage, was a force that no enemy could easily break. As night deepened, Ethan realized something profound. He had not only helped a queen survive, he had helped shape the future of an empire. And in doing so, he had proven that even a human, ordinary by the galaxy's standards, could influence events on an extraordinary scale. Solara turned to him, her golden eyes filled with quiet admiration. "The galaxy has seen my power, but it has not yet seen the full measure of human potential. And you, Ethan, are a living proof of that truth." Ethan smiled, feeling both humbled and honored. "I don't know what to say. I just did what I thought was right." Solara shook her head gently. "And that is exactly why it matters. You have reminded me, and the galaxy, that courage, loyalty, and ingenuity are forces greater than any fleet, any army, or any throne." The night stretched on, filled with quiet reflection. Outside, the stars shone brightly, a reminder that the universe was vast, full of challenges, dangers, and opportunities. But together, a human mechanic and the galaxy's most powerful queen had proven that even the simplest beings, when guided by heart and courage, could change the course of history. And in that realization, Ethan understood that his journey had only begun, and that the true adventure lay ahead, in a galaxy where humans were not merely observers but heroes capable of extraordinary feats. The stars stretched endlessly before Solara's ship as it left her homeworld behind. The recent victories had brought temporary peace, but the galaxy was never truly quiet. Rumors of rebellion, ambitious factions, and rival powers were spreading fast. Solara knew that she needed more than her fleet. She needed allies who could act with courage, intelligence, and heart. Allies like Ethan. Ethan sat quietly in the control room, watching her navigate through asteroid fields and uncharted space lanes. He still could not fully comprehend the scale of her empire or the power she wielded, and yet she treated him not as a servant, not as a minor helper, but as a partner. "You have grown," Solara said softly, her golden eyes on him. "From a simple mechanic, you have become indispensable. Your courage, your ingenuity, the galaxy would be unwise to ignore them." Ethan laughed quietly. "I'm just a human. I do what I can." Solara shook her head. "You are more than that. You embody qualities that even the most powerful rulers often lack: humility, quick thinking, and loyalty without expectation. That is why you matter." Their conversation was interrupted by alerts. Scout ships reported a massive armada approaching, faster and more organized than any previous threat. It was a coalition of rogue factions determined to challenge Solara's rule and claim her empire for themselves. Ethan's heart raced. "They're big. Really big. We can't just outrun them." Solara's expression was calm, yet her hands moved deftly across the controls. "We will not run. We will face them strategically, and your insight, Ethan, will be vital." For hours they coordinated. Ethan suggested inventive maneuvers, using debris fields and gravitational anomalies to confuse the enemy. Solara deployed her fleet with precision, each ship acting as an extension of her command. Together they created a strategy that relied not on brute force alone, but on clever tactics, coordination, and the unpredictability of human intuition. As the enemy fleet drew near, Ethan felt a surge of determination. "They underestimate us," he muttered. "They think because I'm human, I'm small, weak, and unimportant. They're wrong." Solara glanced at him, a faint smile crossing her lips. "They will soon learn the truth. Courage and wisdom often outweigh size and firepower." The battle began with sudden intensity. Laser beams and energy pulses lit the void, ships maneuvering in complex patterns as shields flared. Solara's command was flawless, yet she allowed Ethan to implement his ideas freely. His quick thinking allowed the fleet to anticipate enemy movements, turning the tide of the fight at critical moments. Ethan's mind raced. He rigged energy diversions, set up false targets, and even used the nebulae to mask movements. Each decision was instinctive, precise, and daring. Solara watched him, her respect for human ingenuity growing with every maneuver. "You are extraordinary, Ethan," she said, her voice calm amid chaos. "Few beings could match your adaptability. Together, we are stronger than I imagined." Ethan grinned. "We've got teamwork. That helps a lot." The enemy realized too late that they were being outmaneuvered. Ships collided, communications broke down, and key targets were disabled. Solara's fleet moved in perfect harmony, striking with precision, while Ethan's strategies kept the enemy off balance. At one point, an enemy battleship targeted Solara's flagship with a massive weapon. Ethan quickly recalculated, redirecting power to the shields and firing countermeasures. The beam glanced off, leaving the ship unharmed. Solara's eyes met his, and she gave a subtle nod of approval. "You saved us," she said quietly. Ethan shrugged, a small smile on his face. "Just doing my part." Hours later, the battle ended. The rogue factions retreated, their fleets scattered and damaged. Solara's forces had won decisively, not just through power, but through ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. Ethan's contribution had been pivotal. His human insight, creativity, and quick thinking had made all the difference. The aftermath of the battle brought a moment of reflection. Solara stood with Ethan on the observation deck of her flagship, overlooking the planet below and the stars beyond. "You have changed how I see humans," she said softly. "Your bravery, your mind, your heart. These are qualities that the galaxy often overlooks, and yet, they are the most important." Ethan looked out at the stars, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "I guess humans aren't as small as people think. We can do a lot if we try." Solara's gaze was steady. "Indeed, and the galaxy will remember today, not only for my leadership, but for the courage of a human who stood by me when it mattered most." Ethan felt a quiet pride. He had started as a simple mechanic on a remote planet, helping a stranger in need. Now he had stood beside the most powerful queen in the galaxy and influenced the outcome of events on an unprecedented scale. Solara continued, her voice reflective. "The alliance we have built today will shape the future. Humans with their courage and ingenuity will be respected, not underestimated. And you, Ethan, are a symbol of what is possible." Ethan smiled, humbled by her words. "I never imagined any of this. I just helped someone in trouble." Solara's golden eyes softened. "And in doing so, you have done more than anyone could imagine. Sometimes the smallest acts lead to the greatest outcomes. You have proven that." As they planned the next steps for the galaxy's stability, Solara and Ethan realized that their partnership was more than convenience. It was a bond built on trust, respect, and shared courage. Together, they would lead, protect, and inspire, showing that even ordinary beings could leave extraordinary marks on the universe. The galaxy began to take notice. Humans were no longer seen as minor players or weak allies. Stories of Ethan's ingenuity, bravery, and loyalty spread, inspiring humans across worlds and instilling a new respect among alien civilizations. Solara knew that with humans like Ethan by her side, the galaxy could face challenges far beyond her own power. Their combined strength, her leadership and his ingenuity, was unstoppable. One evening, as the flagship hovered over the heart of Solara's empire, Ethan and Solara stood together, watching fleets move in perfect formation and cities glowing beneath them. "Do you ever wonder," Ethan said quietly, "what the galaxy will think of us?" Solara smiled. "They will see courage, integrity, and wisdom in action. They will see that humans are not to be underestimated, and they will remember that even the simplest beings can influence the stars." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never known. "I guess we're ready for whatever comes next." Solara's hand briefly touched his shoulder, a gesture of respect and connection. "Together, we can face anything. And the galaxy will watch and learn, and perhaps even follow the example we set." As the stars stretched endlessly around them, Ethan realized that his journey, from a mechanic on a quiet planet to a hero of the galaxy, had been guided by courage, choice, and the simple act of helping someone in need. And Solara, for all her power, knew that the human beside her had proven a truth she had only recently understood. That strength was not measured by titles, armies, or technology alone, but by the courage and integrity of the heart. The galaxy had been forever changed. Humans, once underestimated, had shown their value, and one humble mechanic, Ethan, had left a mark that would echo through worlds, systems, and generations to come. Together they looked out at the stars, ready for new challenges, new adventures, and new alliances. And for the first time, the galaxy understood that the courage of one human could indeed shape the fate of billions. In that moment, the bond between a human and the galaxy's most powerful queen was no longer just a story. It was a legacy, and it was only the beginning.